You're late for work, you skip breakfast. You can't find your keys, your wife is barking at you as you head out the door because you forgot to pack Johnny's lunch again. The big presentation you have coming up in 2 days haunts you. You haven't even started preparing. Your phone is blowing up with text alerts. A major client is having a meltdown. Between the front door and your desk, 3 people remind you anxiously that they're waiting on responses from you. You sit down and see that your email is already mounting, but 5 team members are already formed outside your door with got-a-minute requests. Your phone rings, it's your mom calling again. All you can think is,
the traffic.
I can't read
the boss. The baby. The dog. That does it. Calgon, take me away.
You feel stressed, guilty, inadequate, overwhelmed. As Paulo Coelho said, life has many ways of testing a person's will, either by having nothing happen at all or everything happen all at once. It is called overwhelm, and it happens to all of us. It's part of our human experience, particularly in our fast-paced, always-on, busy, glorified society of today, and particularly to the very driven high achievers who go after big goals and set incredibly high standards for themselves. Even the Iron Man himself, the guy who's trying to save the planet and colonize Mars in case he can't save Earth, even Elon Musk confesses to cracking under the weight of overwhelm and admitting, quote, "It has been excruciating." The great Abraham Lincoln was quoted as saying, "I have been driven to my knees time and time again by the overwhelming conviction that I don't know where to go." And if that's not enough, even Jesus, yes, Jesus, described himself as feeling overwhelmed. It's true, read Mark, he will tell you. It was just before his arrest. He became deeply distressed and troubled. Mark writes that Jesus said to his disciples, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch." In other words, dudes, back off, give me some space. Then Jesus went down a path and fell to the ground, where he ended up doing some praying to try to regain himself. So the point is, in this human state, all, yes, even Jesus, feel overwhelmed at times. It happens. No need to panic. Here's what happens. You feel overwhelmed when you feel out of control. This activates your threat alert system. No matter if the danger is imagined or real, your body's fight, flight, or freeze defense mechanisms kick in just the same. Your nervous system releases a flood of stress hormones into your system, which kicks up your intense anxiety. This also reduces your serotonin, which contributes to your well-being and happiness. This combination creates an intense feeling of helplessness and despair that is associated with being overwhelmed. I won't give you the long list of health ailments this causes, nor explain how most escape this despair through alcohol, drugs, and destructive habits. Suffice it to say, it's all bad, and you gotta stop this quick. Since it is so important, and it happens to all of us often, I'm gonna use kind of a boorish framework here to help you remember this, okay? Fair enough? I warned you. Okay, the framework is going potty. Yeah, I warned you. When your body builds up with a lot of shiitake, you know what to do. Now, when your head builds up with a lot of shiitake, you'll know what to do as well. When you go number 2, what's the first thing you do? Yeah, you shut the door. You weren't raised in a barn. You're not Lyndon B. Johnson. So step number 1 is shut the front door to the outside world. Literally, close your door or go get lost somewhere. Go somewhere where they can't find you. You have to do this duty, pun intended, in peace. That means turn off your phone, stick it in a drawer. Turn off email and all the other notifications that are constantly yanking your chain and frying your brain. Shut off the self-esteem depletion and FOMO of social media. Even Jesus would shut the door. Often he'd go away by himself to get away from the large crowds. Yes, even from those who needed his healing and help. He would suddenly release the peace sign, beat his chest and say JC out, drop the mic, and slip out the back. At least that's how the scene plays out in my head. But Jesus did regularly pull a Houdini and just bail. Look it up, it's all in Mark. At times, he would even retreat from his disciples. I mean, hey, can you imagine having 12 superfan dudes who literally worship you up in your grill all day, 24/7? So yes, even Jesus needed some me time. So what do? Go for a walk or exercise or meditate, whatever works for you. You pick how you want to do it, but execute on shutting the door. The second thing you need to do in prep for number 2 is steady yourself before the big event. In this context, that means breathe. Funny, but we often forget to breathe. When you are stressed, your chest tightens and you begin to breathe shallowly. Just take a moment to pull in a few deep breaths. You'll be surprised how that will immediately get you centered and stable for the next stage. Then, the big event. Dump it. Open the floodgates of hell. In this context, that means dump your brain out onto paper. Feeling overwhelmed is a state of mind. You are not under real danger, but your fight, flight, or freeze stress response system is freaking out just the same. You gotta get the coked up squirrels that are running ragged in your head out and onto paper. Once you do, then you will see it all, and I promise it will look a lot less helter-skelter in print than it seems swirling around in your head. Another way to get it out of your head is to talk it out to a friend. Once you hear yourself explain it out loud, you'll realize it isn't as daunting as it feels constantly churning in your noggin. As Lao Tzu said, if you correct your mind, the rest of your life will fall in place. After you have dumped it, what's next? Yeah, clean up. Take all that you wrote down and simplify it into the top 3 issues. Of all the noise that you wrote down on paper, which 3 priorities are really the most important? And in what order? As the Dalai Lama put it, when life becomes too complicated and we feel overwhelmed, it's useful to stand back and remind ourselves of our overall purpose and our overall goal. And as Confucius said, before that even, keep it simple and focus on what matters. Don't let yourself be overwhelmed. See, all the mystics have had to deal with this too. You're not alone. Now that you are all cleaned up, what next? Yeah, get up and take a step. Taking action on only one thing, single task. Do only one thing, the most important thing you identified on your new list, without distraction or interruption. As the prophet Mark Twain taught us, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. The secret to getting started is breaking your overwhelming tasks into small, manageable tasks and then starting on the first one. It's as simple as that. No drama, just get started. That's it. I'm telling you, this will save you. If you're going to attempt to do anything great, you're going to get hit by the wall of overwhelm over and over again. So what do? Yeah, just dump it. When you feel that grumbling in your head, just politely say to the world around you, "Excuse me for a bit, I gotta go dump it." Then 1, shut the front door. 2, take a breath. 3, unload it onto paper. 4, clean up to 3. And then 5, take a single step. And then, may the peace be with you. Hey there, I want to share something raw, something I rarely do. You see, for the past 2 years, I have been warning you about the AI revolution. But here's what I'm seeing. Most businesses are falling behind, and they are figuring this out way too slowly. So I've made a decision. Instead of telling you what you could do with AI, I'm going to just show you what we are doing right now to leverage AI. Not using some fictional company, but with my own business. With just 15 people, we're